All right. So yeah, before the break, we talked about what type of constraints we can have on our entities and what type of relationships we can model between them. So now we're going to take an example of building a like a Facebook type database model or database schema, and yeah, we're going to build it up and see how we can actually create these relationships. So I'm going to use close all of this stuff out. Okay. I'm going to use this website. If I can find it, here we go. So it's called Quick Database Diagrams. It's free, it's quick to use, and it just allows me to model my diagrams in a cool way. So typically when people are creating schemas, a common thing that is created is something called an ER diagram or an entity relationship diagram. So basically you're creating your entities and there's the relationships between them. Okay, so this software doesn't take actual SQL, so it is going to be its own little syntax, but it'll allow us to model entities and relationships. So actually, before we create posts, let's start with our first table, which is probably going to be user accounts. So yeah, let's actually think, what do we want in our schema? So let's say we have users who have profiles, who are allowed to post things, and on those posts there are comments and reactions. So what tables should I add here? I've added user accounts. What's another one?
Posts.
The post.
Let's do it. Posts. Okay, what else?
Profiles.
Profiles, yeah. So I'm gonna call this user profile. Someone else said something.
The reactions.
Reactions, yeah. So yeah, let me move user profiles up here just so it's a little easier to keep things in order. Posts, reactions. Let's say there's also comments. And I think that's good for now. So we can start filling these in. So what should the difference be between like a user account and a user profile, let's say? What type of data would we want to hold on to in an account versus a profile?
Maybe a profile picture can go on the profile.
Yeah. Profile pic. This is, what type should we make this? Let's just do a URL. So then we can make this varchar. Okay, what else?
Well, the user account probably have like a password, or maybe the personal
Yeah.
email.
Yeah, let's do username. Varchar 5. So these are, I'm going to move these out of the way a little bit. Okay. Okay, we said username. Let's say there's a password. And there's also varchar and let's say last login date or something like that. And this is date, or like, I think there was like timestamp. There we go. Okay. What am I missing in this?
Primary key.
Yeah. So what should my primary key be called? Or what column should I have as my primary key?
Like account ID or something.
Okay, so ID. Typically, if you're inside this table, and this is going to be the primary key, I would just call it ID as it is. Account ID would be like if I'm referencing the account from here, then I would call that account ID, just to kind of differentiate between IDs. But typically, yeah, the base ID for any table should typically just be called ID. So this one is going to be the primary key. Let's say it's an integer. Yeah, so I believe all tables should have this ID. So we can probably just copy this over for posts, for comments, and for reactions. Okay, so user profile can have a profile pic. Maybe they have like a personal quote or something like that. What else? What am I missing? So how can I link these two? What type of relationship should the user accounts and the user profiles have between each other? So as a reminder, we have 3 types of relationships that we can use. So which relationship would we want to model? A question that we can ask ourselves is, can a user have more than one profile? Yes or no?
Keep it simple and say no.
No. Okay. Yes, I agree. So since the user is going to have a username and password, I would assume that that is going to be attached to one account. Okay, so a user can only have one profile. Can a profile have more than one user?
Still keep it
No.
simple, no?
Yeah, exactly. So if a user can only have one profile and a profile can only have one user, what type of relationship are we modeling here?
One-to-one.
A one-to-one relationship, exactly. So a solution to create a one-to-one relationship is to create a foreign key and unique key constraint. So we have 2 constraints here in the user profile. So first of all, let's connect these two. We have to have a foreign key, right? Connecting the user profiles to the user accounts. So I'm just going to put it in this one right now. I could do it in either way, because since the user can only have one account, the account can only have one profile and the profile can only have one user. I can put this foreign key on either of these and it will represent the relationship properly. For now, I'm going to say each profile is attached to an account. So I can say account ID, or maybe user ID. And what was this gonna be?
Zaina, quick question. You said that foreign key could go on either table. Is there like an industry expectation or like a rule of thumb that's usually followed when deciding where to place it, even though it can go in either table?
With one-to-one relationships, I don't believe so. No, I think it's just whatever makes sense to your data model. Yeah. So here I feel like accounts are used more broadly versus like with Facebook, if you have a Facebook user account with a login, you can log into other services with it. So I feel like that's the base of the relationship here. So we can have the profiles pointing to an account. So that's kind of attaching itself to it. But either way it could go. So what is this user ID field going to be? What type of constraint am I putting on it?
Unique.
Yeah, so it does have to be unique. What else?
If we're going to consider it like a username, it would probably be a varchar, but yeah, it would be probably some kind of varchar.
Okay, what is this user ID supposed to attach itself to?
An account. So would it be not null?
So yes, but what type of key should be? So if we go back here, when we talk about constraints, there's a few different keys that we can use. Yeah, a foreign key. Johnny, you're correct. So we can use a foreign key to actually say that this user ID is linked to a user account. So if we look here, user ID, I'm going to attach it to user account. Why is it not working? There we go. So the user ID is attached to an actual user account by ID. So this number and this number will be the same in both of these tables, and that's how the relationship is held onto. So this one, let's see. Hold on. So this is just int. So these mean things. So the bar means 1, and then the little like tree looking thing here means many. So right now it's showing a one-to-many relationship. And sorry, fixing the zoom. Okay. So I do want to make sure I make a one-to-one relationship. Hold on. If I remove that. Okay, so this is the primary key. We added a foreign key that is going to attach itself to here. Why isn't it? Okay. So the foreign key attaches, or basically the user ID is referencing the user account's ID. I think this is yeah, that's the issue because there were multiple. And then this has to be a unique. Foreign key. I feel like I'm forgetting how to set the unique. Sorry, one sec. It's always with these IDs. Hold on. Foreign key, I think. Is that all I have to do? Okay, there we go. It's just the syntax of this. So unique foreign key, and the foreign key attaches itself to or references the user account. So each profile has a link to a user account by ID, and that ID is going to be unique. So here there's a one-to-one relationship attaching this user profile with this account. I know I kind of went a little back and forth there, but anyone have any questions on that? Okay, yeah, so just to recap, when we're creating a one-to-one relationship, we need to create a foreign key that is unique on one of the tables. So if I wanted to do the inverse, if I didn't want to put this user ID connection here, I could add it to user accounts. So each user account has a profile. So I can say profile ID. This is an int. It is also unique. And it is a foreign key that will reference the user profiles. So it references user profiles .id. And there we go. So the relationship could go either way with these one-to-one relationships. Any further questions? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Why couldn't the ID of user profiles just be connected to user accounts ID?
The ID and user profiles be like attached here.
Yeah.
Because then the user profile won't have its own ID, its own unique ID. I guess actually it shouldn't. That's a good question. I don't know if you're allowed to create a primary key that's a foreign key. Hold on, that's not what I wanted to do. So let's say you're saying if we didn't have this, we only had ID, and this one was a foreign key to user profiles.id, right?
Right.
Yeah. We can test it out when we're creating a schema in SQL, but I don't think it would really be an issue. It would just be you can't create a user profile that is not attached to a user account, which makes sense. But I think I think this will cause issues. Huh?
You might also have different naming conventions between your account ID and a profile ID and stuff.
Yeah, I think this will cause issues when you're trying to insert, because it's going to expect this ID to be existing in the user profiles table. So it's good because this is a link. And if you have this constraint, that means this ID will have to exist in here and in here. So if you're trying to insert it in here and it doesn't exist in the user profiles yet, then that's going to give you an issue. So that's why we typically create a separate foreign key that holds that relationship together.
Okay, so the separate foreign key kind of acts as like a proxy. So you're not using direct ID. You're kind of using that.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So if I call this,
Right. Thank you. That clears it up a little bit. Thank you.
Of course. So yeah, we make it unique because we can only have one of this relationship. And then, yeah, foreign key to, I could just drag it. There we go. And if I want to make sure that it's one-to-one looking on here, I can just remove that. Okay, I think that's the user profile and accounts look good. Let's add some more things to the post. So posts will have an ID. Posts can also have content. This content, let's say, is of type text. And what else? What does a post need to have?
A date.
A date? Okay.
Yeah.
Date posted. Who makes these posts?
User.
User.
Yeah, so a post can't be made without a user. So that means we need to attach a post to a user profile or a user ID, one of them. Bots, yes. But bots are then the user. So but yeah, so how can we attach a post to a user account? How can we add a relationship between, so let's say our posts are done and we have to attach a post to a user account. How can we do that?
Do you set up a foreign key with user accounts ID?
Yeah, definitely. So will that be in the posts?
Yes.
Yeah, because each post will only have one author, and each user can have many posts, as many as they want. So each post will have its own ID, it'll have its content, but then it'll also have a reference to the user account that posted it. So let's say author.
Wouldn't we want a reference to the user profile, since user account and user profile is a one-to-one, but the profile has like the profile picture
Yeah,
and things like, wouldn't we want to, because otherwise, like if you make a post and you want to get that profile picture, you have to go through the user account and then to the profiles.
yeah, definitely. This is a design decision. So as long as you can
Oh, okay.
stand behind your design decisions and they make sense, then you should make them. So yeah, I think profile does make sense. Okay, so profile ID, and this will be, we set a foreign key. So let's make it an int, and I'm going to make it easier on myself, and I'm just going to drag this profile to this ID. So each user can have many posts. So each post will have a reference to the profile of the person who made the post. And with this, so I should have asked this before, but can a user create more than one post? Yes. So there's a many relationship in there. Can a post be created by more than one user? No. So that's why it would be a one-to-many relationship. And one-to-many relationships, like we did here and like we discussed earlier, you create a foreign key on the side where, on the many side, basically. So if this is a one-to-many relationship, one user can have many posts. That means that on the post side, on the many side of the diagram, you will have your foreign key attached. Any questions on this one? I'm going to move this to here since we're using user profile as our main one. So this is, oops. It's a little unruly looking at the, hold on, let me do this. Oh, it attaches it to the left side anyway, as the right side. Never mind. Okay. How do I move it? Okay. So yeah, a user profile can have posts. What about comments? Oh my God. Let's now move on to our comments. Can a post have many comments?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Can a comment be attached to many posts? So one comment, can it be related to different posts?
No.
No.
Exactly. So this is a what type of relationship?
One to many.
One to many again, yeah. So let's say with the comments, we have a content. You make that text, And what type of information do we want to attach this comment to? Or sorry, what type of yeah, what more information do we need in the comments?
Well, who made the comment, right?
Well, who made the comment exactly? So what would that be? What would that be referring to? Which table?
The
User profile.
Yeah. So let's say profile ID, and this one is going to be an int as well. So this profile ID can also attach itself to, can't go further. It will attach itself to the ID. So a user can make a comment. What else would be in a comment? What are comments?
Timestamp.
Huh?
A timestamp when that comment was made.
Sure, yeah, timestamp. Or
Likes and dislikes.
posted. Let's say comments don't have reactions, so we could ignore that one. But
You need the post that's a comment to.
the post that the comment is on, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we not only are attaching the comment to the user who wrote it. So if I wanted, I could call, instead of profile ID, I could call this like author ID, if that makes a little more sense to you when you're designing your schema. It doesn't have to be the same name as the table itself. Kind of whatever makes sense. So I'll keep it profile ID for consistency right now. So yeah, each comment is attached to a profile, but each comment is also attached to a post that it is commenting on. So post, this would be post ID. And what would it be referring to again? Which column in the posts table?
The ID.
Exactly. There we go. So a comment will be attached to a post. And let's keep that over here. Awesome. I think this looks good. So to recap, we have a user profile that is attached to that has a one-to-one relationship. So a user profile has a one-to-one relationship with an account. And then we have a post that has a one-to-many relationship with profiles. And then we have comments, which have a two one-to-many relationships. So it has a one-to-many relationship with profiles, so users can make comments. It also has one-to-many relationship about posts. So each comment will have a post ID, and each post can have many comments.
So for the comments,
Mhm.
we're linking the profile ID to the actual user profiles.
Mhm.
Would there be any difference if we just linked it to the profile ID that's in posts? Since it's a,
no, I think so.
or would it matter? I don't know.
So let's think about it. So let's say I make a post and a bunch of different people comment on it. Whose profile ID is going to be attached to the comment? The original poster or the person who made the comment?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I got you. That makes sense.
Yeah. Typically, yeah, I think that would be that would work a little better. Yeah, questions? Okay. So our last thing that we need to fill out is our reactions. So let's say reactions, or I can call it reaction types. Each one has an ID. And let's say each one has, I don't know what to call it, but the reaction itself. And this could be, let's say, a string. We don't need that much, so let's do 100. And let's say each reaction is like I said, like, dislike, heart, crying, something, whatever it is. Okay, so it has that, it has a reaction. So let's say posts can have reactions. Can a post have more than one reaction? Like more than one like, let's say?
Yes.
Yes. Can a reaction or a like a reaction type, could it be made on different posts?
Yes.
Yes. So this relationship is what type?
Many, many.
Many to many. So how do we create a many to many relationship? We mentioned it earlier before the break.
Do you have to make another table?
Exactly. So basically, there's no natural way for us to join, to like connect these two, because if we were to count for many, we would have to say like post 1, post 2, something like that in the as the columns, and that doesn't make sense because you don't know how many there are. So we have to create an intermediary table, which is typically called a join table, which has nothing to do with actual joins, which is a little confusing. But for this one, we'll call it post reactions. So the reactions on the posts, and this is a typical convention. You usually have both names of the entities that you're connecting in the third table. So yeah, post reactions, this will have its own ID as usual. So this is a primary key. What else? What are we trying to connect? What are the pieces of data that we're connecting here? So this has to be in the middle of this, right?
Is it posts and reaction types?
Yeah. So and how can we connect to those two? What do we need to create here?
Foreign keys for each.
Exactly. So let's say for each post reaction, so for each unique combination, we have a post ID. This can be a foreign key. I'm gonna just drag it. So post ID is going to be attached to here. So it'll be attached to posts, and each post can have many post reactions attached to it. What's the other one that we wanted to create?
Reaction ID.
So reaction ID, it will also be a foreign key, but this one's going to attach itself to the reaction types. And each reaction type can have many post interactions, or post reactions. And what's one last thing that we might want to consider or hold on to while like in the post reactions?
Potentially user ID to show who gave the reaction.
Yeah, definitely. So user ID, or actually let's do profile ID. And then this profile ID is going to attach itself to our user profile. There we go. So yeah, this is a join table. So typically It's called a join table because it joins two entities into a special relationship. Sometimes you don't have extra things, like you might just have a post ID and a reaction ID, and that is it. But because of what we're trying to model like posts and stuff like that. That's why we have to add a profile ID for who made this. But yeah, join tables can be as simple as just having the post ID, the reaction ID, and that's it. So something worth mentioning here, if we wanted, because of these post reactions, we can make, if only one person, actually no, I take it back. I won't talk about that right now because it doesn't make sense with this example. But yeah, questions about this? So yeah, pretty simple. Oh, this is too annoying. Okay. Any questions about anything that we've talked about so far? Okay. Okay, I guess one thing that we could have added is on post ID and user ID, so, or profile ID. If we wanted only one profile to add a reaction to one post, so each person can only react to one thing, we can make this and this unique. So the post ID and the profile ID, if we make them both unique, that means that you can only have one combination of post ID to profile ID in the post reactions. That means only one person, only one person can react onto one post. Or like a certain post, so not just one specifically, but like if I have a post ID of 5, a bunch of different people can add reactions, but if I wanted to make sure that each person reacting can only react once, then I would make this and this unique, and we can model it when we write our actual SQL code. Okay, should we take a quick little break before we dive into the SQL code? And that will be the end of the last hour. Let's make this a shorter break. Let me pause.